G'day guys and gal. The Primarchs might seem like these awe-inspiring demigods, but the reality is they are just as petty and prone to daddy issues as any privileged white girl with divorced parents. They can get very emotional and angry very quickly, so it's not too surprising that Primarchs have killed their own loyal sons out of pure rage on multiple occasions, even including loyalist Primarchs. Also, this is little Rolo. I think I had him in a video a couple months ago. I just wanted to show how much he'd grown since then. He's about, I don't know, 17 weeks now. He's like 16 kilos, so he's a bit of a heavy boy, but he's still beautiful. So I thought, may as well bring him on. Also, to clarify the title of this video a bit, I do not mean that the loyal Space Marines are loyal to the Imperium, I mean they are loyal to that Primarch. So if Perturabo was to kill one of his generals due to poor performance, that would count as him killing a loyal Space Marine. Oh, Rolo. We got it. Good. Before we get started, if there is one thing more important than Warhammer, it's not dying before your time so you can play more Warhammer. So it is essential we replace any bad habits that are jeopardizing that. To this end, I have partnered up with Fume today. Fume is a flavored air device that you suck on, risk-free. No vapor, no smoke, no chemicals, no nasty stuff. Just flavored air. As for the flavors, there's a lot to choose from: orange vanilla, raspberry lemonade, sparkling grapefruit, and more, with my favorite being crisp mint, as it's like sucking in a fresh blast of minty air. Fume also acts as a fiddle device. Shit. So it helps even more to keep you occupied whenever your thoughts stray to the dark place. Fume is extremely aesthetic, which is why they've released the base, a magnetized weighted stand that aesthetically stores your fume. It's even spinny so you can spin it around, which is awesome. My particular fume is called the Solano model, which features an onyx sucky bit with a dark walnut barrel. So to kick a bad habit or just begin your suction journey, then go to tryfume.com/Majorkill or scan the QR code on screen, or just use code Majorkill, which will give you 10% off your Fume journey pack. Cheers to Fume for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over all the times that a Primarch has killed their own loyal Space Marines, either out of necessity, anger, or whatever. And once again, shout out to Alex Christie for the amazing thumbnail artwork. I think a fair few of you can pick out where this scene is from. Let's get into it. Starting with the low-hanging fruit today, we're going to be checking out Angron. No one kills their own loyal sons better than Angron does. Man fucking loves it. However, his most egregious team-killing spree was when he wanted to teach his legion a fucked-up lesson. His warriors were tasked with taking down an enemy fortress within an unreasonably short time frame. The enemy was an advanced form of cyborg that used Dark Age of Technology gizmos. The World Eaters were unable to do this, hence Angron ordered the legion to be decimated. World Eaters would be forced to kill their own brothers to make up for their failings. One of the captains of the Legion refused to do so, saying that this was bullshit and that they did nothing wrong. Angron laughed in his face and insisted he begin killing his battle brothers. The World Eater told his father to eat a dick, so Angron began going on a rampage, killing his own legion. It took the combined might of the Legion's librarians to psychically kick Angron in the balls and knock his ass out to stop him. In another instance, when Angron was first discovered and kidnapped by the Emperor, he was in a seriously bad mood. Each captain of the Warhound Legion, which is what they were called at the time, went in one by one to try get Angron to lead the Legion. He proceeded to kill each and every one of them until Khan was able to go in and eventually get through to his father. But by that point, nearly the entire Warhound command structure was dead. Good work, Angron. Although Angron's slaughtering of his own loyal warriors is probably the most retarded, he was by far not the only one to do so. Magnus the Red had built a bit of a habit of it as well. Whenever a 1,000-son warrior would fall to the flesh change, Magnus personally culled them. However, when the Space Wolves were coming to Prospero, Magnus also killed one of his closest advisors that discovered the wolves were coming in order to keep them silenced. Magnus also tried to kill Ahriman for casting the rubric, but that was stopped when Titsnitch decided Ahriman was hilarious and fun to mess around with. Love him or hate him, we can all agree that Perturabo is a massive prick. An effective prick, but a prick all the same. When he took over his legion, he found it wanting, so he ordered a random decimation of his sons. 1 in 10 Iron Warriors chosen at random would be beaten to death by his battle brothers. Perturabo also did not take failure well, being known to beat his warsmiths to the verge of death or sometimes straight up death when they weren't able to fulfill his orders to the letter. One such warsmith he beat up so badly that the dude had to be interred within a dreadnought as his body was now broken beyond repair. Of course, Fulgrim is on this list. Man just loves sinning, that fucking slut. You could argue that the various silent killings he performed on his Legion command whilst the traitors were beginning to show their hand counted as him killing his loyal sons, since they were still loyal to him at the time. For example, one of his Lord Commanders did not want to become a Slaneshi plaything and resisted Fulgrim's attempts to corrupt him, so Fulgrim just killed him instead. In a significantly funnier scene, when Eidolon, one of Fulgrim's closest commanders, questioned Fulgrim's desire to go go to a planet and mine a bunch of crystals halfway through the Horus Heresy, Fulgrim lost his shit and cut off Eidolon's head, killing his Lord Commander. Eidolon's head would be eventually reattached to his body with him being brought back to life, but it left him severely retarded. A number of other Primarchs perform mercy kills on some of their own sons, which I would say is probably the only justifiable reason. Beyond Magnus, who I've already mentioned, Sanguinius had killed some of his sons who were lost to the Red Thirst, and I mean so lost that they tried to attack him. Corax ended up mercy killing the Raptor Raven Guard mutants, who were created by the Alpha Legion fucking with the Raven Guard gene tech. That scene was very sad. The Raptors saw Corvus as their father and crawled over to him lovingly, just for him to break their necks. Russ has been known to put down some of his Wolfen in a similar fashion to Sanguinius, and even G-Man once mercy killed the Sun, an Ultramarine who failed to teleport and ended up mostly dead and in agony from the mistake. Jagged Eye is an interesting one. On one hand, a big bunch of White Scars tried to join Horus, however most of them were still loyal to Jagged Eye in their own way. They just tried to force him to join the War Master. So when Jagged Eye put a stop to their mini rebellion and put his renegade sons on trial, most of them were still kind of loyal. However, a few had taken the Blood Oath, which meant that even though they wished to fight for Jagged Eye once again, they were oath-bound to Horus, thus Jagged Eye was forced to execute them. As for the non-oath-bound renegades, they were all sent on suicide missions across the galaxy. Most of them died on these missions, however a few returned to perform one final task, a final heroic suicide attack against the Death Guard that saw their honor restored. So yeah, not the conventional killing of a legion, but still worth mentioning. Of course Mortarion is also on this list. Dude is a massive piece of shit, and not just because he stinks. During the War for Molech, the traitors were seeking various different advantages as the Emperor's forces on the planet were mighty. One of these advantages came to Mortarion. One of his servants said that there was a strange breach in the gene seed vaults of the Death Guard, so Morty and his Death Shroud, his elite bodyguard, entered to investigate. Morty sensed a demonic presence, so did what any reasonable man would do. In a single stroke, he killed his entire Death Shroud bodyguard and used their deaths to bring forth the demon. The demon being Grulgor, a son of his who was killed by Nathaniel Garrow with the Life Eater virus. Grulgor was now a walking Life Eater virus demon and would be used in the war as such. You know Morty, for a guy that hated the warp and hated psychers, you sure do a lot of warpy psychery shit. Fuck being in the Death Shroud. Now for probably the most controversial team kill on this list, the one that really grinds people's gears and is argued to be the Lion's dumbest moment. It's also the moment that the video's thumbnail is based on, that being the Lion punching off Nemiel's head in a fit of rage. For context, Nemiel wasn't just some no-name Dark Angel, he was one of their main characters who had been around for most of the heresy. He was also a bit of a hero, claiming many kills and being a paragon of integrity within the Dark Angel Legion. On top of that, he was the cousin to Zahariel, who was the protagonist of multiple books. So what happened? The Dark Angel ship is attacked in the warp by demons and they are having a terrible time, mostly because the demons are immune to most of their weapons, with only the Lion able to reliably take them out. Then one of the Dark Angel ex-librarians, who was previously unable to use his powers due to the Edict of Nicaea, where librarians were banned from using their power, said fuck this noise, and he turbo blasted some bitches with warp lightning. This proved to be extremely effective against the demons. The librarian was brought to the Lion and told him what happened. The Lion was like, okay, look, hear me out. I know Dad said no librarians, but the situation has changed. Warp lightning seems very clutch right now. I am currently suspending the Council of Nicaea and we can sort it out later. Which isn't really a hot take. After all, in Imperium Secundus, Guilliman also revoked the Edict of Nicaea, so his Ultramarines could use their powers once again, and even the Blood Angels ignored the Edict on Cygnus Prime to help beat the demons. Many other loyal legions, like the Space Wolves and White Scars, did something similar. However, Nemiel, who was a chaplain, a warrior tasked with maintaining the purity of the Legion, argued. He said that the Emperor's edict was absolute, and that by breaking it, the Lion was becoming a traitor. The Lion tried to explain that you need to adapt to the times, and that he would discuss it with the Emperor directly when he saw him, but for now they needed the librarians. Nemiel continued to argue and would not accept his Primarch's new orders, so in a flash of lethal rage, the Lion punched Nemiel so hard in the face that he tore his head clean from his body, and he was instantly killed. Was it justified? Well, I think the Lion probably could have handled himself better and didn't need to kill Nemiel. Just having him arrested for disobeying the Primarch's orders would have sufficed. But the Lion was a pretty rash guy during the Crusade, and he did regret punching off Nemiel's head, so there's that, I suppose. Obviously, Konrad would be on this list. Man is a psycho. However, his reasons for killing some of his own loyal sons were quite wholesome, even if his methods weren't. A squad of his Night Lords were taking way too much pleasure and sadism in killing a civilian populace. This was also pre-heresy when Konrad wasn't too fucked in the head yet. The Night Lords doing this was a no-no, as the Night Lords were supposed to be judges and executioners of justice, not just murder hobos. So Konrad killed the squad and ate their corpses, as you do. As for Alpharis and Amigon, it's hard to say, as they definitely have killed Marines in their own legion as a part of various mini purges, but a lot of these Alpha Legionnaires that were purged believe themselves to be loyal to the Alpha Legion. Amigon once got a squad of Alpha Legionnaires to infiltrate an Alpha Legion base and blow it up. He claimed that they had intel regarding an assassination attempt against Alpharius, but in reality the base was blocking warp transmissions to the White Scars. All Alpha Legionnaires involved believed that they were loyal to Alpharis and Amigon, despite all of them dying to kill each other. There are other instances of when Primarchs came close to killing loyal Space Marines but held themselves back. When Nasir Amit was the first to suggest that Horus was a traitor to Sanguinius, Sangi knocked him on his ass and entered into a rage, but held himself back from killing him as deep down he knew he was right. In a similar vein, when Nathaniel Garrow took the news of Horus's betrayal to Rogel Dawn, Dawn struck him and nearly killed him, but was stopped when cold hard proof was presented. As far as we know, Lorgar, Vulcan, Dawn, Ferris and Horus have not killed any of their own loyal sons, which is pretty surprising, but there you go. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. We have just uploaded a new photo deck of the 2024 cosplay calendar. Also, thank you again to Fume for sponsoring this video. Link is in the description. Peace.